is nonfeasance a impeachable offense?
The take care clause of the Constitution, that is, provides that the President shall take care that the laws be faithfully executed, was a response to the Stuart monarchs who had refused to execute laws passed by British Parliament. They were oftentimes recusancy laws against the Catholics and the Stuart monarchs. Certainly James was a Catholic, and he refused to execute the laws. And so in the English Bill of Rights of 1688, following the Glorious Revolution, there was a specific assertion prohibiting any king, any executive officer from refusing to execute the laws faithfully.
I hate to you seem to be giving us a long answer that adds up to yes?
Yes.
Okay. Now,
and by the way, that was impeachment article that was voted against Nixon by this committee made that same recitation.
Thank you. Now, every president would like a line item veto. They'd like something even better. They'd like to just cross out any section of a enactment that we send to them. Those provisions would be inapplicable, and then the parts of the bill they like would be applicable, because every president likes some part of each piece of legislation we pass and dislikes others. And the way they accomplish this is they sign a bill containing, say, 4 or 5 provisions, and then they say the provisions they don't like are unconstitutional and they're not going to enforce them. One way we could protect ourselves from this is to add to every statute a provision that says no provision of this statute shall go into effect until the President signs a statement that says he believes that every provision in the bill is constitutional and he will do everything possible to carry out every provision of the law. Mr. Schwartz, would that be an effective way to be sure that either the President vetoes the bills he thinks are partially unconstitutional, or that he waives any assertion that he shouldn't enforce this or that provision?
It might give the President more power in a way.
Well, if he could refuse to sign such a statement, then we could pass the law again without the statement. Then he'd have to veto it. We'd retain the right to deal with those bills that the President will want to veto.
It's an interesting device that might get at the abuse of the signing statements, and I think it's worthy of really some more further work on it, but it's good get at the subject.
Yeah. I'll be trying to add that provision to many bills next year. I have only a second. Ms. Holtzman, you are a former prosecutor. Is it appropriate for a prosecutor to seek an indictment if he or she is virtually certain they cannot obtain a conviction?
Well, probably. Well, it depends on the system. It depends on the evidence. Why wouldn't you get a conviction? Is it because you don't have a good staff? You haven't done your homework?
Maybe you can't get a conviction because
if the evidence warrants it, it's a very tough call.
So if the evidence convinces you that the person is guilty, but for this or that extraneous factor, say the person's a big-time celebrity and you know absolutely, positively you can't get a conviction, it still might be appropriate to indict or not?
Well, I've never had to face that, so I'm not going to give you a
You were never
thoughtful
a prosecutor in Los Angeles. I yield back.
answer.